became the first country to close all checkpoints on the border with Russia. Helsinki explains its decision by a sharp increase in the number of illegal migrants who are trying to enter the state through the Russian border. Thus, in September 2023, 13 people applied for asylum in Finland, and in the first 2 weeks of November, it was almost 5,000. In Finland, they perceive this as a hybrid threat.
The Finnish do not need to let these refugees, whom Russia specially brought to these borders. The second point is also quite important, since among these refugees there may be radical elements, in fact terrorists, but also Russian representatives of the Russian special services, who may try to infiltrate into the territory of Finland and then possibly into the territory of other member countries of NATO and the European Union.
Moscow's assurances that it has nothing to do with the influx of illegal migrants did not convince Helsinki. After Russia disowned the Little Green Man in Crimea, did not recognize the presence of its army on Ukrainian territory for years, and in 2022 assured the whole world of the absence of plans to invade Ukraine, no one believes its statements.
But the Russian-Ukrainian war, which Russia started, was precisely the key factor that negatively influenced, is influencing and will influence the relations between these two countries, between Finland and the Russian Federation.
The Russian Federation is now perceived by the Finnish as a threat, hence public support for any measures that aim to strengthen national security.
Naturally, Moscow doesn't like all this, and Moscow is now trying to use hybrid methods, what we see on the Russian-Finnish border, when Russian special services actually want to use refugees and migrants as a weapon in order to create a source of tension and naturally try to shake up the international political situation in Finland.
Moscow expelled 9 Finnish diplomats and Helsinki responded in kind. Russia has closed the Finnish consulate in St. Petersburg. In response, Finland has closed the consulate of the Russian Federation in Turku. Now Finland has renewed the debate about banning dual citizenship, and above all, we are talking about Russians.
Finland, as such an eastern outpost of NATO, must also understand the increasing risks from the Russian Federation in the context of provocation. This applies to the airspace. This applies to the border zone, so to speak. Therefore, strengthening is happening in this direction.
Experts summarize that a new era has begun in relations between Russia and Finland. Without cooperation and constructive dialogue, Finland, a member of the EU and NATO, will behave as a consistent participant in the Western coalition and respond to Moscow's provocations appropriately. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Vasil Panasiuk, UATV News.